YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this. We have a 450 millimeter Warbird. This thing is a Spitfire from Top RC Hobby. Really cool. Can't wait to bring it to you. Let's hope it flies well. I preemptively put a little up elevator in with that adjustable U there. It's our first time doing that. We've been burned on every single other Top RC that we've done so far. So let's see. Good squishy tires, beautiful finish, and a little bit bigger, but still flies on. 1S 400. I'm gonna start in beginner mode. I am not setting the one-touch U-turn. I don't believe in that feature. If you guys need one-touch U-turn, don't use it, trust me. Okay, here we go. Armed, and here we go. Beautiful, we're actually in the air. Good thing we did the elevator thing. Okay, I'm in beginner. Whoa, that thing is gonna stall like crazy. So you have 50% throttle here. Beautiful sunset flight. Camera crew is gonna go up to our normal spots slowly, and I will get there with her, and we're gonna film so that the sun hits the plane. As per our average 450 millimeter performance, we're having tons of porpoising and oscillation, almost to the point where it's like, what is going on? And I am having to ride the sticks. It's very challenging. You can see the porpoising. Okay, now one touch and then back. Very terrible performance of a roll, but it did try to do it. That's top speed, by the way. And it's dead calm as per the flag. And I did one touch and then pulled back on the stick, and it did try to execute, but at the top of the loop, it stalled. Not surprisingly. Okay, so let's talk about Top Flight, or Top RC rather. Top RC Hobby. We've done a number of different planes for them. We've done them for other competitive brands. They have a new flight controller in these things, and they've improved other things, okay? I'm going to admittedly say this. These airplanes are very resistant to damage, and they are beautiful. They are a lot nicer looking than they used to be, but you guys need to be aware of something. We have found that they are flying poorly. Okay, we're gonna stand here and try again. Okay, remember, full throttle, hand launch, you should be fine. As you can see, it's just janky. Jank it a lot. Now I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I coordinate my turns, and you've seen me fly. You know I'm a decent pilot. I do crash into stuff once in a while. But the thing is, I also know how to fly Warbirds without any trouble. And I'm just gonna tell you this, if you get this as a beginner pilot and you think this is the way all planes fly, please don't think that. Yep, that was a one-touch roll. So I pressed the roll button, I touched the aerobatic button and then pushed to the right. Okay, very good. So now what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna get my speed very, very high. I'm gonna try something. This may or may not work. You may notice I'm up higher. That's on purpose, okay? Because I'm just gonna tell you right now, if you're not high, you better not go out of beginner mode. Okay, there's middle mode. I'm just gonna try some controls and see if there's a little bit of improvement. It should open up my window of opportunity for flying. Okay, get my speed up. Okay, it limits your up. You cannot roll over on a flip. Now, can I roll over side to side? Nope. Nope. So it still limits your bank angles. So you can't actually even do a loop, okay? So I don't know what the middle mode does, but it definitely does not do what I want it to do. Now I'm gonna go to expert. It's gonna be terrible. Yep, there it is, immediately terrible. Like really, really, really bad. Okay, that was literally beginner mode. Guys, I know how to fly. I'm a good pilot. I'm not an amazing pilot. I'm an average to good pilot, okay? I'm not some 3D expert. I'm not a scale expert. I'm none of those things in an expert fashion, but I know how to fly. And I can tell you this right now. Look at the porpoise. I am fighting so hard to make this thing look even reasonably good. And it barely flies. I am all over these sticks. Constant perpetuation of up and down on the elevator. I gotta say, there is something not right about the way this flight controller works. And that's why we ended up in the tall grass. Also, notice the speed of the aircraft. Oh, that bird wants to fight.
It does.
Fortunately, it's gonna win.
Yeah, he might.
Let's try landing, okay? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if you guys saw, our cat was watching it. Like, time to be eaten, bird. He thinks it's a bird, or she thinks it's a bird, rather. Let's try landing. Good Lord. Wow! Did you see the cat lay down? That was hilarious. I hope you guys could see it, but I'm guessing you couldn't.
Probably not, because I think I jumped.
We're gonna try to land. Whoa, geez. Oh, geez. Okay, we're gonna try coming around the other way. So folks, if you want a plane that you can put on your desk that looks gorgeous, and you can say it does technically fly and it's got auto leveling, then you could buy this thing.
Landed.
But I'm just gonna warn you something. This is one of the worst flying planes that we've ever done. And it's consistently true with the other top RC planes that we've done that are of recent history. It's very disappointing too, because we did the Lightning, which was a top RC plane, beautiful plane, absolutely gorgeous sailplane, well built, well designed, very robust, very sturdy. And then we did another sailplane, and I forget the name, escaped.
The Swift.
The Swift. Had an EDF on the top, beautiful plane. Love the plane. By the way, the moon's out, that's so cool. And we love to have strong relationships with companies that take care of their customers, which would be you, okay? But what we hate is when we get a batch of aircraft, not just one, but a batch of aircraft that all fly miserably.
This was probably better than
Than the P-51?
some of the other ones.
Yeah, I don't know. All I'm gonna say is this. They have improved one thing, and that is they have made them absolutely gorgeous. Yep. These things come out of the box looking like UMXs from Horizon, okay? They're not, okay? And yes, we have actually put, a Spectrum receiver in. Well, actually it was an orange receiver because we didn't have a Spectrum. And it was super, super small. So it was kind of a knockoff receiver, but it worked fine. And we were able to use our NX10. And guess what? It did not fix the problem, okay? It's not just cheap gimbals on the ready-to-fly configuration. It is, in fact, weight and balance. It is, in fact, flight controller issues.
Yeah.
And I am sorry, we're gonna take the landing gear off and show this to you. We cringe at the opportunity to give negative feedback to companies. We hate doing it.
Yeah.
Because really, it just, like, it hurts us as influencers, if you want to call us that thing. But really, it's like, we owe it to you guys, the audience, to tell you the full truth. And we have had some items that have been so bad that we just say, no, we're not interested. This is not one of those. I am very interested in these because, get this, we used to really enjoy them, and they really were pretty decent flying. I mean, toy grade, admittedly. Let's just see if we do better without the gear.
Okay.
It's gonna be worse though. Oh, you see, I can't even get the thing to fly. You wanna know why? Because there's nothing to get in front of the CG. The weight of the landing gear adds to the nose heaviness, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys can remember back this far, but we had a P-47, and we did it for a competitive company, but it was basically of the same echelon, made by the same company in the same factory, more than likely, but a different paint job, okay? It was silver, and it flew terribly. And I tried putting a ton of weight up here to make it balance out. Sometimes you just don't have enough power to fly a heavier plane. And sometimes you don't have a big enough servo to actuate a roll, or a big enough servo to actuate a pitch moment, okay? Or enough elevator to actually control and articulate a plane. So I'm gonna tell you what's wrong with this plane. Is it's flying like it's tail heavy. And the problem is, you can't really change where the battery is, guys.
Right.
Now, if you put a bigger battery in there, you'd be in front of the center of gravity, and it might improve the flight characteristics somewhat. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. The flight controller only allows for a couple of degrees up and down. It's not enough. You need more. You need like this and like this to be able to actually fly a plane. You need a lot, even with auto leveling, you need to be able to fly it. So I'll show you. If you wanna fly it, you have to be prepared to throw it fast. Okay, see, now it flies. And I'm gonna tell you this, when you have a nose heavy plane, they'll fly super stable. When you have a tail heavy plane, they'll fly extremely unstable. Keep your speed up, keep your turns very shallow, and you can make this thing look like it's flying over the beaches of Normandy, okay? But I'm gonna tell you this, you better not slow that thing down because it ain't gonna survive. And yes, that was close to the house, and I know it because that was the only way I could only turn it that sharp. And you have to hit this sweet spot that's like 40 to 50% in the stick movement, because you go too far and then it's super bad over controls. And then if you hit the outside perimeter, like most kids and inexperienced pilots are gonna do, you will be completely out of control, like right now. So, what do we like to do on Brian Phillips RC? We love to talk up how good these products are. Partly because, you know, we get commission for selling them. So it's like, of course we wanna sell them, but the thing is, we are not gonna sell you guys short. Not here and not now. It looks pretty dang good right now, and this is what always happens. We fly them for like 20 minutes, and next thing you know, it's actually not terrible looking. But I'm gonna tell you this, I am actively pursuing a flight right now. I am not just passively looking at it. And that's what you're gonna find with these planes, is guys, if you want them to fly, and you want them to fly decent, you better know exactly what you're doing. So if you're a skilled, experienced pilot, or at least, you know, like an average, ordinary pilot that can pretty much take the sticks on most planes and fly, you can fly this plane. But you're gonna get to them and you're gonna think, oh my goodness, this is being marketed to beginners? Like, no, it is not a beginner eligible plane. I'm sorry, it's just not. There are 400 millimeter warbirds that perform a lot better, even in this top RC line, okay? Now, I've said all these things. I just want you guys to understand something. We love supporting the RC hobby, and that up to and including some of these competitive Chinese companies that try to bring good stuff to market. We appreciate the product that they bring to market. We appreciate the real skill it takes to actually do that, in addition to the skill it takes to design and implement something as simple as a small warbird. And we want desperately to be a positive reviewer. So we just hope that you guys hear our concerns in the context of our full belief that you guys are worthy of the truth. You always have been in our book. You always will be. And that's gonna cost us opportunities. So if you guys see this video and you're like, hey, we wanna support you in what you do, we want you to keep telling us the truth, not this BS, fastest, best, cheapest. Oh, $69. Like, who cares how much it costs if it sucks? The truth is, if you want to help us, smash the like button. That doesn't mean you like the plane. It doesn't mean you like us. It just means, hey, you understand what we're doing. But also, if you don't like a product we review and we sit there and tell you how amazing it is, we can also disagree. But I don't think we're gonna disagree on these ones, guys. I think you're gonna be like, thank you, Brian. Now, there's gonna be some of you that are better than you think as pilots, and you're gonna say, I didn't have any problems, Brian. I'm not saying that nobody can fly this, because look, I am physically doing it in front of your very eyes. But you're gonna think, oh, I can do that. Yeah, well, for once I'm making it look easier than it actually is, okay? You better fly fast, and you better do it right, because otherwise it's gonna fall out of the sky like a rock. In fact, I can demonstrate it here. I'll get close because I don't want to chase it, okay? Watch this, I'm gonna come up here, full throttle by the way. Turn, turn, turn. That's a sharp turn, it barely makes it. There you go, flipped upside down and crashed. That was a result of turning left and then right, okay? No BS, I didn't force the crash. I want you guys to be aware. It's very easy to crash this thing. Now, on the complete flip side 180 of what I've been saying this whole time, I could put that prop back on and fly it again right now. If that was another brand or another echelon of plane, there's a very high probability I'd be spending a few hours and like 20 bucks on glue.
Yeah.
Okay? But at the same time, if it was another echelon, another brand, my theory is you would have been able to conduct that turn, okay? Let's see if it'll even fly. Oh, I did break the spinner, okay? Throw it hard, get it flying. By the way, beautiful sunset. Very comfortable right now too. It's been so hot.
Lighting's getting pretty terrible.
It is getting terrible. But the thing is, there's a cat in my lap,
chilling.
as you can see. Let's land on the cat. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Everybody, I'm landing on the cat. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, that's what I'm talking about, guys. That's as good as you're ever gonna get. That is a perfectly aligned landing. So guys, at the end of the day, here on Brian Phillips RC, we answer to you, the audience, and not necessarily the manufacturers that we work with. Although it kind of hurts our souls to have to do what could be perceived wrongly as bad-mouthing these companies that are out here trying to expand our hobby. Because we want them to succeed. We want them to succeed, really. And we want you guys to succeed. But we don't want you to fail because of their success, okay? And I'm afraid this window of opportunity is being sold to beginner pilots. Pilots that don't know any better. Pilots that aren't going to understand, like, hey, that's not normal. If you get this and it's hard to fly, it's not you. You don't suck as a pilot. It's just the plane is tough to fly, okay? So if you get this thing and you put it on your shelf and you're like, you know what, Brian, I'm just going to go do something slightly different. I'll get myself a Sport Cub or a, you know, a Bigfoot, or I'll buy some, you know, like a Ranger or something like that, or maybe an Apprentice or an Aero Scout, something like that. You're going to find that you have a very good experience, okay? Even those you're going to crash, and even those you're going to be able to fix, and even those you're going to have frustrations with. But I guarantee you, if you start here, you're going to end here, unless you're a very resilient person, or you've listened to me and took that to heart and you understand that you're not the problem, okay? So if you already have one and you're like, man, mine works good, you probably have an older one. They have redone some stuff on these and they have re-released them. So just understand that, guys. Deep in our hearts, we want to give them good, positive reviews, but truth is, sometimes they just don't do it. And this is one of them. So now, that being said, this is a gorgeous plane. It does come with everything you need, up to and including the batteries inside of here, with the exception of the adapter that I plug my USB port in for the charger. Now, in our case, we have other types of chargers. We have that quad charger from Spectrum that we tend to use with the Molex connectors and like 3 other types. We generally use that. But the truth is, I just want you guys to have a positive experience. And if you're not an expert pilot, this is probably not for you. Hopefully we've answered all your questions. If you want to know how to set up the S-Bus and or the DSM input, which is DSM, DSMX, DSM2. I can't remember if I forced the DSM2, but we do talk about it on the 402 millimeter P47, which should be out by the time you guys see this Spitfire video. So at the end of the day, it does look pretty good. It does sit on the shelf. You can cut your fingers if you're not careful because there's no throttle cut. But if you do happen to hit your finger with this, my guess is you'll probably just the prop will pop off. I'm not going to test that theory. Yeah, let's not find out. So guys, if you have comments or questions about this, please do leave them here. And Top Flight, when you're watching this, I'm sure you're going to be super happy with us. But the truth is, you're going to have to figure out what's going on with this stuff, and you're going to have to fix it. And you're going to have to tell us, hey, we fixed it. Thank you for bringing it to our attention so we can fix it. And the other thing I just want to point out is we have this like interesting concept. I don't know if anybody who's in business in America might know what I'm talking about, but when you have a problem with something and you reach out to the, you know, the company that makes or distributes it and you say, hey, you know, like, this is what we're seeing. And then it's just like crickets. I actually do hear crickets.
Yep.
It's so weird because then resolution doesn't happen. And then you get a review like this. Truth is, might be what's happening here. This plane is so close to being very good, but it's not quite. So anyway, guys, that answers your questions, I'm sure. If you want to buy one still, we have links in the video description below. However, just like I said on the last one of this similar size class and issue class, you've been warned. And we do care about you and your success a little bit more than we care about selling a few of these planes, okay? Let's sell you something that works really good. Have you happy and have you back. Smashing the like button instead of cursing as you come back into the chat area. saying, Brian, why didn't you warn me? Well, we did.
We did.
We did. So guys, anyway, we do really care about you. We appreciate you. We have one of the world's best audience here on Brian Phillips RC. People that are just coming back to the hobby, people that are brand new to the hobby. We want you guys all to come back into the hobby and just really live it up. We obviously need new people in this hobby. It can't be just a bunch of 70, 80, 90-year-old guys that are dying literally as we speak. There's got to be some young blood that's got to be coming into this hobby. And you're not going to get them if you put them into wings like this at the beginning, because they're going to be called what we call one and dones, which is one of our big mission statement points here on Brian Phillips RC. We want to prevent one and dones. That's when you buy a J11 and crash it on your first flight and you say, I'm $1,000 out, and I hate those guys that showed how easy it was. It was the cheapest, fastest, best, they said. Trust me, if you want to find that on YouTube, it's very easy. All you have to do is pretty much watch anybody on YouTube. We like to show the truth and nothing but the truth, so help us, God. And yes, that does mean that it costs us a lot, meaning that some companies don't like to work with us. Excuse me. Sorry, I had a sneeze there. Or dynam. Excuse me. Except they did work with us.
That was our choice.
we pretty much ended that. So the truth is, guys, if they're not working with us, you can do your own assessment of whether or not they have something to hide, because truthfully, we're gonna be, and they know it. So you found it first on Brian Phillips RC, and maybe you don't have to find it anywhere else. But at the end of the day, we do have tons of awesome choices for you. And if you're curious about that, just check out brianphillipsrc.com. That's our domain. You can search by brand, and then you can watch a video and see what we thought about it. And you can find a little thumbnail, and it's gonna say, hey, I like that plane, let's go check that out. And there are long videos, admittedly, but you can find the spot you want. You're not gonna hurt our feelings if you zoom a little bit past, or go to the radio setup so you can figure out how to do it. That's what everybody does. We expect it. So just do what suits you. And then when you're ready to make a purchase, follow the links. That's the best way you can support us. Smash the like button along the way, of course, and subscribe if you haven't already. Clicking the bell for notifications so that you can hear about our new content, which usually happens about 2 to 4, sometimes 5 times a week, depending on the week. And you can watch the new stuff as it comes out, and you can roll back to the 1,800 other videos if you're in between, or if you're serving a short jail sentence, and then you can get caught up.
Or a long jail sentence.
Or a long sentence. But either way, we appreciate you guys being here. And all joking aside, we really do want the best for you. And we wish that we could give you a better report on this plane. But it doesn't do it. Any other thoughts, camera crew?
I think that pretty much covers it.
All right, guys. Something right around the bend. You don't even know about it yet, but you will soon. So stay tuned. Can't wait to have you back for that. And if you have questions, comments, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget, super thanks are one way to help thank us. We have membership on YouTube, or if you don't like YouTube side of things, you can go over to Patreon and do friends and family support that way. If you don't want to buy this, or you can do PayPal. Excuse me, I said that backward. PayPal for one-time friends and family gifts, or you can do Patreon if you want to do monthly support. Patreon and members on YouTube both allow slightly better access for members for communication. So we're still trying to kind of figure that out on the members. It's a brand new thing for Brian Phillips RC, so our apologies as we work through the bugs on that, but it is something that we're working on. So for those of you that are already members, which we're up to like 4 or something like that, so it's really cool. So if you guys are one of the 4, pat yourself on the back. We really appreciate you. And if you're one of the like 20 or so odd people that have given us super thanks, we really appreciate that. But at the end of the day, guys, instead of a super thanks, thank yourself with an amazing plane, that you've seen before. I'm Brian Phillips RC. We know you'll do it. You can always just tell your wife there's snakes in the basement and just quickly have the UPS go around back. That's what I would do. All right, that's all you get for tonight. Thanks for watching. Come back for more. YouTube. We have a box. We're gonna open it right now. Hope it's pretty good. All right, here goes nothing, guys. So here, if you're new to Brian Phillips RC, we unbox these things so that you guys can see what you're getting in real life. We try not to do fastest, best, cheapest. We just show you the way it really is, and sometimes it's amazing. Look at this mini Spitfire. Okay, one touch, 1 key aerobatic, 6-axis gyro, ready to fly, durable EPP from Top RC Hobby. 450 millimeters. Okay, so let's see what's inside here. Nice packaging. Looks like straight up regular retail packaging, which is nice. Does come in a box, within a box, which is kind of nice too. Some of the competitive offerings we found come in garbage bags, literally taped shut, which is very weird. Okay. All right, so let's take a look inside of here. We have done a a number of these different top RC planes, and we've had kind of mixed results. So we're gonna see how this one does. Let's go ahead and cut this thing open. Now, cool thing about this is a 450 millimeter, so it's a little bit bigger than the very popular 400 millimeter warbird size. And so if you happen to get one of these and you're expecting it's the same, keep in mind it's like 10% bigger. It's quite a bit bigger plane. And it does come with a manual here. Let's just go ahead and whip that out and show you what that's all about. Radio controlled micro planes, okay? They suggest ages 14 plus, but who's counting? Man, they're looking so good. Let's hope it flies good. That's the real question, guys.
So
that being said, beautiful lines. Love the differentiation on color on top and bottom. This thing does come open, and guess what? DSM-2 input as well as S-Bus if you decide to use it, or 761, V761 Open TX protocol. Very cool. Open TX, of course, as you know, is going to be the protocol where you would not have to add your serial receiver. If you decide to add a DSMX receiver or an S-Bus receiver, you will have to, of course, add a serial receiver. And we do show how to do that in our P57 or P47, not P57, sorry guys, P47, which is a 402 millimeter warbird. It's going to be the same exact configuration, and we do set it up on our NX10. So that's pretty cool. And we have a spare prop. It does come with the base that goes onto the motor shaft. So if you get in a crash, these things pop off really easy. And then what you can do to replace them is slide it on. But you can see that receiving clipping device, it's actually held onto the motor, so you have to grab the shaft of the motor and then twist it on like a screw. That's what this plastic thing is here, okay? So see, that'll pop right off.
if you break that off,
Yep.
you have a spare.
Yep, so you got a spare of the whole assembly, which is nice, and that's a detailed spinner, so good job Top Flight, or Top RC rather, for including that. There's a bag of goodies, but we'll get right back to that. Okay, so we have a transmitter. Interesting thing, comes with batteries. So somebody in China must have got the memo about ready to fly, whatever that means. Okay, so we have rudder, throttle, ailerons, elevator. Okay, so this controls the pitch of the plane, so go up, goes down, rolls left, rolls right, yaws left, yaws right, and then of course faster or slower. One touch aerobatic plus back makes it do a loop. One touch aerobatic plus right gives a barrel roll to the right. One touch aerobatic to the left, and it rolls to the left. One touch aerobatic to the ground, it just crashes in a million pieces. Just kidding, it doesn't do that. But that's actually not a feature. Okay, so this has a lanyard point, and we have an easy, expert, mid, and beginner. My suggestion, if you want the most out of these planes, would be to bind them up to the receiver of your choice and get the maximum value from them. But you don't have to do that. And just to be clear, this thing should be well under the 250 gram limit, usually floating around 90, okay? Squishy tires on a rim, very nice, a little thicker on the wire here, so let's go ahead and install these. They snap right in, very easy. No snap, kind of a quiet snap. This thing slides in here as a tail wheel, and it also has the squishy tire, but just keep in mind this does not turn. So there is no steerability on that. That's just gonna lock you in a certain orientation there, okay? Same thing with your other main. You've got the soft squishy tire on the rim. Very nice. Okay, I must say, I gotta admit, the 450 millimeter Warbird series has been looking very good. Challenge has been, do they fly good? Serious challenge. Phillips, very small, probably like a number 0. And that does come with it in case you need to replace the prop. That's gonna help you to take this off, okay? Just in case you need to, or this off if you need to. Remember, one servo drives both ailerons, and then one servo in the middle hole and this back hole. We have noticed one thing on these top flights is that the flight controller doesn't let us have enough elevator authority to actually climb. And so you end up in this like death spiral. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to anticipate that. Oh, and by the way, they do include this, which will go into your receiver if you need this style of receiver adapter, okay? We haven't used one to date, but it is included, so that's kind of nice. So we'll put that with the goodies. Let's go ahead and walk over by our chargers here. There is a battery inside this plane. Obviously, you can take these out. There's 4 AA's in there. Singular screw comes out, unlatch, and they're ready to rock. So that's pretty sweet. You don't even need to open it. Okay, now we're gonna plug this in. We'll show you how this looks so you can see how it works. This is their single channel charger that's included. Okay, it looks like the green light's on my side, so I'll flip it. Oops, excuse me. I'll flip it this way. Green light comes on, nothing's attached. It's got this Molex style connector. This battery is charged from a 0 in the same size class. It happens to be a 400 milliamp hour, 3.7 volts, also known as a 4.2 1S. Okay, see this? The battery's kind of tucked in there. I'm actually just gonna grab a singular screwdriver, hopefully make it a little easier to get to it. Just make sure you're not grabbing the lead that plugs into the airplane and yanking that out. Okay, so now that we've got a hold of that, we can pull this out. Let's verify the size. 400 milliamps, 3.7. Okay, so this is the same. Now this charger is provided, but the adapter is not, okay? So we're gonna plug this in and watch the light condition change. It's keyed, so it only goes one way. Changes to red and charges. Now I'm gonna quickly unplug this so I can show you what voltage this came with. I'm gonna charge it on this Spectrum Micro LiPo charger. We have links to these things, of course, too. It's a quadruple charger. That means you can charge 4 at a time. You click and then you scroll in 0.40. That would be 400 milliamps or 400 thousandths of an amp, okay? Press and hold until it goes green, or red rather, and we're at 4.06, okay? This one's at 4.2, so it's basically fully charged, so we'll just go ahead and interchangeably use this. Shut it off, pull it out. If you pull it out, it's gonna say code 33 and flash beep, 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 something like that, because it thinks it's an error. All right, so in the meantime, let's go ahead and power this up. Open our battery tray, and we're gonna get this thing ready to fly. Of course, the black to black, red to red. Always verify your polarity. Lay this on its feet. Let everything get settled. And as you can see, we've got roll left, roll right, elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right. So everything's working. So at that, I'm gonna go ahead and slide this battery into this cavity, get this wire in a position that I'm comfortable with so I can quickly retrieve the battery when I'm done flying. But also there's not much of a CG adjustment, so I don't even really think about the CG on these planes. Now, truthfully, if you really wanna get the most out of this plane, you're gonna get the CG dead nuts, and that's something you have to look in the manual. I believe this bump is probably pretty close to the CG, and a lot of times the spar is right on the CG. But in my experience, these things come out of the box and they get what they get. And so it is a little bit challenging to get the CG right with the battery, and that's usually how I make up the battery. It gets heavier or gets slid to the nose or toward the tail. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna fly this right now.
Were you gonna make an elevator adjustment preemptively?
Yeah, the elevator adjustment. This is gonna be a preemptive elevator adjustment, so just so you guys know, you may or may not need to do this, but if you are thinking you want the best possible case scenario, I'm just telling you we've had to do it on every single one we've had. I'm gonna grab this angle and just bite a little bit. Then I'm gonna grab this angle and bite just a little bit, okay? And then I'm gonna bite here just a little bit. And you'll notice what that did is that just walked the elevator very slightly up. I wanna go a little bit more. See how it's now like at an angle like this? Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna fold it out just a hair, okay? I'm gonna fold it out just a hair more. Now you can trim it. Okay, that's gonna be a little bit up elevator. Okay, I'd rather fly up and have to cut my throttle to nothing and just glide it down than have it just nose into the ground. So we'll see you outside. Guys, if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. Obviously buy these things from the links if you thought this was a good enough fit for your needs. But as we've seen, not everything that looks beautiful like this flies as gorgeously as we want it to. And that's why we're here. Brian Phillips RC is here to support you, the audience, and not necessarily the Top Flight or the Hobby Zone or the FMS or the Horizon Hobbies of the world. Of course, we want to have good relationships with these vendors because we do work with them on a regular basis. And so we're going to try to be fair to them. But that doesn't mean we're going to be unfair to you by being dishonest. And that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We show them in their real, true environment, and we see if they're any fun and if they're any good. And if they're not great, we'll let you know that, but we'll let you know the positives as well as the negatives. That's what we do here. So if you guys like the video, smash the like button and come back for more. There's tons of stuff here. If you want to become a member on YouTube, that helps support us financially. Super thanks, of course, one-time donations, also through PayPal. make sure we're friends and family because that's the cheapest way. You don't pay them any fees that way. And then of course, Patreon, if you want to support us on a monthly basis, similar to members on YouTube. And both of those two alternatives are going to give you the best chance of getting in contact with us because we just can't keep up with comments like we used to. We wish we could, but we just can't. Too much production, not enough time, and the day job still happens. So anyway, someday, hopefully we can resolve that. But anyway, for now, beautiful. Hopefully it flew as good as it looked. Stay tuned.